Welcome to another book of commentary video. In this video will be my analysis and impression of the Intel Arrow Lake S, or as the normal people call it, Intel Core Ultra Gen 2. And of course, since everybody and their mom is talking about in the video RTX 50 series rumors, I might as well give my 2 cents on the NVIDIA rumors as well. So, officially, Intel has launched the Intel Core Ultra Gen 2, or Intel freaking Arrow Lake S. This seems to be actually what I thought Intel was going to do with Intel Arrow Lake, where they just literally going to port over Intel Core Ultra Gen 1 and just slap the Intel Core Ultra Gen 2 label on it. But no, in fact, they're Core i9, Core i5s. They're all confirmed to be using the latest, greatest cores. And unlike the mobile Core Ultra Gen 1, they have full HP cores and increased the E cores to get rid of, as a result of, well, E cores got rid of hyper-threading. The only thing really different from the desktop and the laptop counterpart is there is no 3D stacked RAM on top of the desktop CPU, which clearly the desktop don't need. But however, this also has enabled Intel to do this new interesting, new RAM technology, which is like this weird load balancing RAM thing where if the certain thing on the where the CPU and the RAM onboard memory chip would talk to each other and be like, hey, would talk to and dynamically adjust the RAM speed and timing to according to your use case. So like if certain use cases like, hey, it really benefits from high speed like gaming or whatever, you bought those high-end kit that supports this feature, it will max boost that clock and minimize the timing. And when it's like, hey, it needs more stability or it needs to be less erroring, hey, let's crank that clock speed down and make the and get the timing work that is really stable. Which again, it's a great feature Intel has implemented with these Intel Core Ultra Gen 2s with these load balancing stuff. And as well, yay, if you were like, yay, Intel has hammered on about efficiency, guess what? What Intel is really hammering about is, hey, instead of our CPUs needing to use 400 fucking watts to get to our advertised gaming benchmark we typically show you, hey, we're now using 200 watts about it, and we will try and target 125 watts in most scenarios. Yay! More actual manageable CPU temperature and TDP instead of that stupid Intel Core i7 14900K 14 Gen where a lot of the CPU just suicided themselves to maximum clock 6 gigahertz and 1.6 volt. And yeah, this also Intel Core Ultra Gen 2 on desktop is now, I kind of consider it the last step in Intel rebranding their whole CPU naming, where they are officially now that they have the Intel Core series now both in the laptop, which has been for 2 generations now, and finally the last segment of the consumer facing the desktop now also has the Intel Core branding. And as for the server and desktop stuff, they seem to still be using the Intel Xeon stuff, which again, they kind of threw it away with the later generation of Intel Core i series with the data center and the DIY market segment. And this Intel Core Ultra rebranding is ultimately Intel's way of, hey, we are rebranding our whole company. Now, onto the Intel. Now, onto the NVIDIA RTX 50 series. Everyone seems to be talking about the new 512-bit RTX 5090 and the 256-bit RTX 5080. This is probably going to have the biggest performance gap between the 90s and the 80 class. You thought the 40 series was going to be bad. This is going to be the next level performance gap difference, where we're talking about the 90s and the time class card are getting double the, you know, the memory bandwidth as well as the typical memory capacity that the 90s and the times card get from the 80 class card, which is going to have half the bandwidth and probably more memory VRAM stuff. As with typical always NVIDIA, they always like to push you towards their flagship die, and the 80s class is kind of like, yeah, you buy it, it's in a no man's land of, but there are compromises as always. This tends to happen, a lot of bandwidth and VRAM stuff with the tends to happen when, some games that use very high texture counts or some very long, if you play a game for a very, very long time, you tend to run into VRAM problem as well as AI and a lot of these workstation stuff. Again, if that specific task uses a lot of bandwidth and VRAM, guess what? That's where the 90s and the time card tends to kick in of like, hey, yeah, we actually designed this so you can do these really, really 2, 3, 4, 5 hours gaming or just workstation, professional workload that is simply not going to be possible with the lower VRAM and the lower and memory bandwidth capacity of, well, the 256-bit. Also, you're wondering, how does NVIDIA do this? NVIDIA is doing this fancy silicon interconnector that is connecting to probably RTX 5080s with that special segmentation and be like, hey, we're connecting two mid-end gaming dies to make our flagship gaming die. You're wondering, why did they get rid of, that giant monolithic die for gaming? Guess what? AI professional workstation, a lot of their stuff is more profitable than selling to gamers, and they probably went like, okay, TSMC, this is the allocation and the price you've given us. Okay, then the accountants department came in and be like, hey, yeah, we need to make sure all our most profitable yields and GPU cores and segmentation is given to our most profitable segment. Gamers, sorry, we are not going to give you the 102, 103, and the 100 die of our. Those will be reserved exclusively for workstation and, of course, that famous accelerator, which right now is AI all the way. Which, again, hopefully, yeah, that's my 2 cents on the RTX 50 series rumor mill. And to summarize, for the people that want to skip to right to the end of the video, Intel Core Ultra Gen 2, it is Intel simply doing, we're tearing down our old business and we're rebuilding ground up fundamentally, and we're going to call ourselves Intel Core Series, Intel Core Ultra Series. And as for Intel 50 series, this generation was fundamentally designed so that we are able to both milk the consumer gamers and as well as the commercial customers of NVIDIA. Anyway, that brings the end to another of my Baka commentary video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.